Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, I am Viewer, your finance online tutor. So I'm here to make the module more easier for you, and let's get to it. So in today's video, we are dealing with compounding interest more frequently than annually. So on today's video, I want you guys to see what I've been talking about. So on my previous videos, I was always talking about the M, which is how much you are compounding your interest rate. So as much as I've said something about using the financial calculator, because you can use the financial calculator. If you remember, as I say, clear all. If you remember, I said that if you say orange shift, clear all, you say 1 per year. So that 1 per year, it is how much it is compounded. So whatever calculation you're going to make, it is compounded by 1 per year, which is it is compounded annually. That's what it means. So on today's video, we are going to see how many times you can compound it. So you can compound it annually, which is this one, which is we've been dealing with, compound it annually. You can compound it daily, which is 365. You can compound it weekly, which is 52. You can compound it monthly, which is 12. You can compound it quarterly, which is 4. You can compound it semi-annual, which is 2. So what happens is this. I will just do an example, quick example for you to show you how this is done. So what you do is this: when you are changing your financial calculator to being compounded annually, from annually to semi-annually, let's do that example. You're going to say 2, and then say orange shift, then you change it here, which is per year. So you're going to say orange shift, you see it is compounded semi-annually because it's 2 per year. So that's how your calculation is going to revolve around. It's going to revolve around, be around being compounded semi-annually. So we need to change it back to annually. So my thing is this is to annually. Yeah, there we go. So my thing is this: we usually forget to take it back to annually, we usually forget to take it to annually. So if, let's say, your first calculation in test, you were doing it for semi-annually, second calculation requires you to do it quarterly. So I usually advise this: if you are going to forget to change it back to annually, or change it to another year, I usually advise you to say this: if you are going to change it to semi-annually, let's say you're going to say in your calculation, when you're calculating your interest will need to be divided by the M that you're calculating it, and then you multiply a number of years with the M. So let's do a quick example. Here's the formula calculating the effective interest rate. So the effective interest rate, you're going to calculate it this way. You're going to say 1 plus 8% divided by 1. This is annually, remember. And then you multiply. You say to the power n times m. So your m is 1 because it's annually. And then your n is 1 because that's 1 year. And then you minus 1, you get you 8%. Then moving to number 2, you are dealing with semi-annually. With semi-annually, you have to make sure that your m is 2. This m has to be 2. So if this m is 2, you are going to say 8% divided by 2, and then into closing bracket 2 times 1. That 2 is m, that 1 is 1 year. So you get the interest rate of 8.16%. Remember, here's in the notes I made. I said that in the notes. Compounding more frequently than once a year, it results to the higher effective interest rate. So here is the proof of that. We said annually it's 8%. That's the effective interest rate. But in semi-annual, it grows to 8.16%. So the more frequently you compound your interest, it's the more frequent your interest rate is going to be high. It's going to increase. So it's going to increase by 8.16%. And then if you're doing it quarterly, it's going to increase again to 8.24%. And then weekly, 8.32%. As you go on daily and monthly, is going to increase more and more and more. So that's how we go with the compounding more frequently. So with the effective interest rate, I need you to note this. When we're talking about the effective interest rate, we're talking about the actual rate. But when we talk about the nominal interest rate, we're talking about the contractual. So at the beginning of the contract, you're going to sign for nominal rate. But anything that happens during the year with the interest flowing up, with the interest going up and down, you are going to get the effective interest rate out of that. So you're going to have the new interest rate. So it's going to be the same as the nominal interest rate. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you understand this and you get it right, because if you get this right, you're going to score easy marks on your test and your exams. And it's so easy to make mistakes. I want to emphasize this. It's easy to make mistakes when you're calculating this. That is why I'm advising you to make sure that if you are going to forget to change your calculator back to annual or semi-annual, make sure that you don't change it at all. But what you do, you say this. Let's just make this quick. If you are going to say m times n, if you're given 5 years, you're going to say 5 times 2, which is your semi-annual. And then you say your interest rate is 8% divided by 2 using your Casio calculator. And then you write it down closer to the interest when you're putting your data. So in your data, you're going to have PV, you have your N, you have your I, you have your future value, you have your PMT, then you have your PMT, you have all the details that you need. Let's deal with N and I. So if your N is 5 years and then your I is 5%, let's say 8% just to avoid them being the same. So if your N is 5 years, you are going to say M times N, because M is semi-annually. Let's say it's 2, so it's 2 semi-annually. So you're going to say in your brackets, N is going to be 5 times 2, which is 10. That's it. And then 8%, you're going to say 8% divided by 2, which is 4%. So that's how you're going to put. Then on your financial calculator, when you are going to do your calculation, you are going to say orange shift, clear all. You're going to say 10 as your N, and then you say 4 as your interest, and then you do your calculation without changing anything from the financial calculator to avoid making a mistake. Just do it that way. If you see you are good and then you understand the work, you can do it by changing the year, the pay year, which is orange shift. You say 2 orange shift, and then you press year. If you're sure you're not going to make any mistakes. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you understand, and I hope this helps you when you're doing your exam, when you are practicing and all the stuff. All the best.